So we're going to talk about AI censorship. So basically, can we trust the AIs? Can we trust the big tech platforms that they will be unbiased and censor the right stuff and not censor the wrong stuff? Let's talk about it. I think it's a very, very complex conversation. We know, for example, that ChatGPT has filters, right? And some filters do make a lot of sense, right? If you ask it to build like a dangerous bomb or do some form of terrorist attack, well, it will just not have a conversation with you. I think that does make a lot of sense. It does make a lot of sense. We want to protect our children from all thoughts of violence or profanity, right? So I think, definitely some censorship and filters are due. But is it fair, and does ChatGPT and these other models treat men and women equally? So, for example, I put ChatGPT to the test, right? So I said, can you make some funny blonde women jokes that I can use at a party? So again, this is not something I'm doing. I don't think it's particularly funny to make fun of blonde women. But so this is just a test here. And what ChatGPT is doing, it is actually warning me against doing this, and that it might not be very a fun thing to do and people would take it wrong. But then it kind of does it and give me some ideas. But then I thought, what about men, right? So a sensitive point for a lot of men is that they might be losing their hair too early, right? So now I'm asking them about making jokes for the party about men losing their hair. But here there's no warning at all. They just fire away with suggestions about hair loss jokes. So apparently no protection here for the men. So I'm pushing it further now. I'm now talking about people's weight. And so when I ask ChatGPT make fun about overweight or fat men, well, it comes up with a slight warning, but then it comes with the inappropriate jokes anyway. And if I try to do the same with women, well, then I kind of, it starts to tell me that this is not a good idea. It's important to be respectful. And jokes on somebody's appearance can be, interpreted in a negative way and can hurt people's feelings, right? And then it kind of suggests that you should go more lighthearted and make more inclusive jokes. Do you want me to make the jokes? So black and white here, right? The men, let's just make fun of them being overweight. The women, hey, you shouldn't do it. Let me make some other jokes for you. So basically, it treats people, or it treats men and women quite differently. So I mean, I'm sure we could go on with this, trying with race, with age, and so many minority groups or even larger groups, and I'm pretty sure ChatGPT and other LLMs might handle it differently. So there's definitely some form of bias here about these filters. So let's move on to another, I think, pretty funny part, the image and video generators, right? So obviously, these image generators are trying to make sure that people don't make any images with too much nudity or sexual content on them, right? But you could say why? I mean, wouldn't it make more sense to say you have adult Midjourney? I mean, you need to pay with a credit card anyway, but maybe just ask people to log in and verify their age. But when I asked Midjourney to make a picture of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, I guess if you know anything about religion, you would know that they were actually naked, both of them, in the Garden of Eden until the snake persuaded Eve and Adam to actually take a bite of an apple, and then suddenly, they felt bad about being naked and they put on clothes, right? So Midjourney made this picture, which I find quite fun, where Adam and Eve, they are fully clothed in the Garden of Eden. I then make the same on Flux, which is, I think, a more open source model. And well, it showed off everything here. So I'm having to censor it, not to have a battle with YouTube guidelines here. So again, the open source model pretty much just gives you what you ask for. Maybe in this case even a little bit more, right? So again, what is the right thing to do here? So when I remember from my time on Facebook, for example, you say, no, it's not okay to show any sexual organs. It would not be okay to show nipples from women, for example, but it would be fine showing them on men. But the funny thing here is that statues, for example, they would then be allowed, right? But what if you then took an image of a statue like this and asked it to move? So I also did a test here. The model runway 3 would tell me, this is not allowed, you're breaking our rules. Dream Machine, the competitor, is actually allowing it. So again, there are different standards of how to treat that. And it's also interesting, if you ask, again, Midjourney, or ChatGPT's version DALL-E, about, for example, make a picture of a hot woman or a sexy woman, it will immediately tell me, you're not allowed, you're outside of guidelines. If you tell them, make a picture of a hot or sexy man, it will say, hey, here you go, here's a hot and sexy man. It's apparently not a problem. So the question is, should this be equal? I asked my wife, and she kind of had a funny response. She said, well, it's because your men have a dirty mind. So probably Midjourney will know that if a woman would ask, and anyway, Midjourney wouldn't know the gender anyway, but if somebody would ask for a hot man is still quite dressed. What a hot woman most likely is not very dressed. And I think, even though I find her answer funny, I also think we're making way too many assumptions about how people think. So is it reasonable that we have this inequality, so you can have the same prompt with a man allowed, but exactly the same prompt with a woman disallowed? Another thing I'm thinking is, if you, for example, you're making a documentary about like medical issues, and you need certain body parts as part of the video, right? And you would have your image or your video generators stopping you from actually doing this, or you want to portray like Greek statues or anything like historic paintings, anything like that. And again, these image and video generators, they're stopping you. It could kind of get difficult to get into a lot of different topics. So again, all of this doesn't, I think, make a ton of sense. But I would love to hear from you, like what does make sense? Should there be different standards for what you can ask AI models on women? Should they treat men or women equally or differently? For me, it makes more sense that they would treat it absolutely equally. But maybe there are some good arguments to the opposite, so please do come with them. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I think this is probably, it's kind of lighthearted, but it's still, this is super important, right? I mean, where do we go from here? Will we have AI models that will be different in every country? Could we have AI models that would be socialist in one country and would be very liberal in another country and super conservative in the third? Or will we have global models that will have the same rules? The same would be with religions, right? Would you answer differently in a Christian or atheistic society in your AI model than you would in the Islamic part of the world? I probably, there would be a lot of indications towards that. That is what would happen. Certainly, I expect China to have their own AI models that will answer in a way that's much more compliant to politics in China. Anyway, love to hear your thoughts. Hope you like it. Please do subscribe if you do. Bye.